Hey, do you know what you're looking for when it's time to choose a college? I'm your host, Brendan, with Campus to Contracts, and that is exactly what we're going to guide you through on this episode. On part one of this two-parter, we're going to get into how you make that right decision for college, whether it's the importance of coaching staffs, impact of facilities, role of the academic programs, and what they provide. We're here to help you make an informed decision and to answer those questions about what really it takes to pick the right college. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe. Leave your comments for Mason as we take another journey with Mason, the agent, regarding how you pick that college and what are the important factors to not only you, the student, you, the parent, but you, the athlete. Hey everybody, welcome to Campus to Contracts. I am your host, Brendan, and joining me, as always, is the agent, Mason Williams. Mason, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. On this episode of Campus to Contracts, we're very excited to go over Mason's week as an agent. You get to hear the flow of a week of a crazy busy schedule, talking to several people, following multiple traffic lanes, and then we dive right into our new series here where we get into your university. Picking the university, walking through those steps, and we're going to dive into several different topics, including what to look for in a coach, what to look for in the university, what to look for in academics. Those are the big topics that we have. Also, we'll dive into a little deeper here as we get into the episode. But first, how was your week, sir?
Man, my week was long. It was very contract heavy. Had a lot of CFL news this week. One of my guys got Defensive Player Rookie of the Year for his team on the Montreal Alouettes in the CFL. Also had another player who, again, was recognized for being a special teams standout. But really what's going on with the CFL this week is that we're getting into that time of the year where the CFL season is coming to an end, and we have to start thinking about the NFL window. Now, the NFL window is when you have CFL players that are allowed to try out for NFL teams. If they make the roster, great. They can stay on that NFL roster, and if they don't, then that CFL team still retains their rights. A lot of times, sometimes a CFL team might want to extend that contract on that player and try to lock them in a little bit on more rougher language, so to speak, so that they can't really have that chance to go to the NFL. But so far, we've been pretty lucky with the teams that are dealing with our players. So that's the first thing that I had to really deal with the first couple of days throughout this week. Congratulations
on the defensive player. I'm sure that was wonderful to share that with him as he continues his journey to try to make it to the NFL. That's pretty exciting as an agent when you have that when you have a player have those kind of achievements. How nice is that from your perspective to share that?
It is really nice, actually. You know, at first it's kind of hard to tell a player, hey, like CFL might be the route, but all routes, you know, for every player pretty much is to the NFL. It's the best league in the world. So when you tell them that there might be another route, that there's not a straight line to the NFL, sometimes guys can get discouraged, sometimes guys get encouraged, and they see it as just another opportunity to showcase their skills. So whenever I have a guy who is, you know, playing really well in any league, doesn't matter what brand of football it is, it really excites me because, you know, I'm telling basically GMs and coaches, hey, I was right. I found a kid that could really play football, and they really need to be moving up in the world, moving up in pedigree of the sport. And they're, in their minds, showing them exactly what I've been telling everybody all along. So they're really proving themselves right, they're proving me right, and they're proving these teams right. So whenever they're playing well and they're recognized for it, it's always exciting. And, you know, me and my business partners and all of the clients are really hyped for all of the players that do get recognized.
And for those that have, you know, as we're getting to the university topic and haven't been following us, the way that I look at an agent is you're kind of playing several different roles for these folks. And in one instance, you're helping the player get that path or get a pathway to the NFL where they want to be. But the other thing is you're actually looking at the talent of the player. So you want to be able to tell these coaches and these organizations that this person is in fact talented and they can really play. So when they really do achieve that, it's a testament to not only your ability to look at talent, but it gives you more strength when you have the next conversation.
Yeah, most definitely. And, you know, that kind of segues into basically what the later half of my week was really about. You know, high school football has really been a thing among agents, especially with NIL deals. You get to see talent as early as possible and see them progress through high school, through college, and then when you start having conversations with those college players, you've kind of known those players' game for the last 4 or 5 years, and then you get to start, making your decisions on which kind of players do you think you want to sign, which kind of players do you think are going to be able to compete at the next level. So in a way, agents scout the same way college coaches scout and the same way NFL scouts scout. So knowing a player and for how long can really be beneficial. And it's been beneficial for me in my job. And our company is, such a young company right now that, we've been able to have connections with a lot of coaches and keep our eyes on a lot of players. And it's more so a very long game that we're after rather than, we just find a guy who's been playing well his senior or junior year. We've done a lot of research on a lot of players just because everyone in our office loves the sport, loves all sports, loves entertainment, loves sports in general. So having that is really a step up for us. And then when it comes to our work as NIL agents, it allows us to understand the talent that we're working with and, get these deals on behalf of some of the collectives at these universities that everyone has been seeing throughout the country. And it really does help a lot.
And I can't emphasize this enough. And this is something that I'm really happy about, not only this show and this podcast that we're doing, but the landscape of high school, the landscape of college is literally changing month to month, week to week. These deals that are occurring, the NIL deals, these things are transitioning the way we look at college. And for the average fan, I mean, for you, the average listener, who's just doesn't have a child in this arena, doesn't have anyone going to, you have no idea how massive things have shifted just from again, Mason literally just got out of college not too long ago. The game is not even the same. The contracts, the level, the scrutiny, the entire industry, and watching it change this landscape, if you will, to me is the most exciting part about having these conversations with you, because I feel every week we talk, something else is hitting the books. You're flying somewhere to deal with something, and you're hearing this chatter. And to me, 5 years, 10 years, I guarantee you no one can predict what that looks like.
Oh, man.
But the way it's going right now, week to week, when you're following this, you're not playing within like a guardrail. You're talking about massive freeway, tons of lanes. Things are changing all the time. For you as an agent, is this like exciting, confusing, crazy, or just all around just you're happy for the fact that these players get to actually get what you would consider to be a deserved amount for what they do?
Yeah, I definitely think it's deserved. I'm definitely happy about it. As an agent, it is exciting. It is so many words that I can't really use to just describe this process of, it's an ongoing learning experience. Like, as soon as I think that I know what all this is about, something happens and it explodes on another level, and then there's more layers and more layers and more opportunities. And it's weird because when I was playing, a lot of this stuff wasn't even allowed, right? Like,
right.
It wasn't allowed.
Yes.
So for me, I can't fathom, and I'm only 26 years old, so I can kind of relate to some of the players, but I'm one of the younger professionals in this game, and when I'm looking at kids that are maybe 3-4 years younger than me, and they're making whatever amount of money or getting whatever kind of things, right? And then you look at when I was in high school and I was looking up, or in elementary school, looking up to Reggie Bush, and he basically got the same thing that they're getting now, and he got in trouble, and it's just like, okay, I guess, but this is allowed now, to a degree.
Right.
But it's just crazy how much has changed. I always expected rules to change for health and safety and stuff, but I never expected the marketing, players to get paid, and then you got the NCAA video game rumors that coming out and everything that's going on with that. So
the best video game in my recollection, I know everybody I knew played that game. It was unbelievable. We loved it.
Unbelievable. Greatest game ever. It sucks that I probably won't be in the game because it skipped my whole time, or I couldn't play as my brother, who probably would be a beast in that game.
Yep.
Yeah. But
So for those, for those listening, if you want to make a comment if you're a player who's been through this journey, because again, we talk about the journey to the NFL. I also think as an agent, you're having these conversations like, yes, you can get to the NFL, but the decision you're making at 16, 17, this university topic we're about to get into, those things are now have a lot more weight. They have a lot more impact on your life. You can achieve a lot of great things from a college university standpoint that can really impact your successful life based on a couple of decisions that you make or how well you perform in high school. And I'm really excited about diving into the university topic of picking that, because I don't think that's changed too much. But when you add all of the financial aspects to this, it certainly is something that you better be considering. So please leave a comment for those that are getting recruited or those that are considering this and looking at those deals. We would love to hear from you. And then also, as you're listening to this in the universities, don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel, Campus to Contracts. We are here again for you, the athlete, you, the parent, to go through these kind of milestones, if you will, because this is not a matter of I'm 18. Oh, well, I made a decision. It's not a big deal. These things can impact your life in a positive way, in a massively positive way for the rest of your livelihood.
Yeah, no question. You hit the nail on the head there, Brendan. It's about decision making. Ultimately, choosing your college. This episode about choosing your college, how we go about that. What questions do we ask? What do we look at? Decisions. Some decisions mean nothing. Others mean the rest of your life, essentially. So when it comes to picking a college, we got to look at a few things that we're going to roll over right now. You got to look at just the university in general. You got to look at the coaching staff. You got to look at facilities. You got to look at the academic situation. You got to look at the programs, the program history, the draft history of said team, the current roster. There's a lot of aspects that we're going to break down today, and we're going to go one by one, and we're going to talk about what is it that we're looking for and what is it that we're trying to accomplish. Let's break this down and look at what we're doing. What is, in your opinion, what is the top thing you should be considering as a high school, like just for you and your brother, for instance, or just a kid, you're talking to a 16, 17-year-old? What is that first thing they should be considering, especially for a university perspective? Now, I will say this. There's a lot of different types of analogies that people throw out there when it comes to picking colleges. There's a lot of different theories. Me personally, I always say, and this is what I got from my dad actually, that you got to pick the school, not the coach, right? What that essentially means is that, and what I've also figured through my, time in college football, around college football, is you more likely than not, the players are going to be there longer than the coaches. That's just most likely what's going to happen. It's going to be very unlikely you're going to have the same exact full football staff for your entire 3, 4, 5 years there. It's very unlikely. So if you go for a coach, there's a lot of things that you need to consider. That's usually one of the bigger topics that people like to lay their hat on, the coach's history. And when you say coach, we're talking about the head coach. Were they in the NFL? Do they have an NFL? Yes, the style, the scheme, what type of coach they are. How long have they been at that university?
So I want to pause that for 1 second, because you're bringing up an extremely valid point for a kid. You have to understand something. If you're 16 or 17 and this coach comes to you and wants to talk to you, they are professional salesmen, first and foremost. And these are the best salesmen at their craft. They have made it to the upper echelon of the NCAA. They are a head coach of a top university. They are coming to recruit you and tell you things. You are entering their world. These are professional folks that know how to butter the bread. They know how to make you feel wonderful. They know how to make your mom feel good. They know how to make your dad feel comfortable. That your point about the coaches in the university, you have to understand when you're stepping into that realm, you're walking into the best sales presentation that you will ever see in your life for you. And I don't think anyone even understands that. You'll never be sold that hard, not for a job, not for a relationship, none of those things. You're about to be presented with one of the best sales jobs you'll ever see in your life.
Yeah, there's no question about that. We're going to get into official visits and more of a recruiting aspect in our next episode. But We're going to go over these topics, starting with coaches, on what I think that you parents and student athletes should be looking into and looking forward to. So starting with the coaches, we want to start off with our position coach. If you play wide receiver, if you play defensive back, you play quarterback, offensive line, linebacker, whatever position it is, you want to start off with, who is my position coach? Did my position coach play this position? Where did he play his position, or where did he play his college ball at? How long did he play college ball? Did he get to the NFL? Has he done what I'm trying to do? Look at his coaching history. Where has he coached before? How long has he been coaching for? All of these things matter because you're going to spend the most of the time in your football career with your position coach. That's who you're going to spend the most of the time.
So you want to dive into the resume portion of this, their resume. In particular, the position coach, which again, as somebody who obviously never been recruited, I wouldn't even be considering that. So as a parent, you're looking at the head coach, you're looking at the offensive coordinator, defense coordinator, very important roles. Yeah. But when you're saying dive into the position coach and ask those questions, as a parent, how would you approach that? If you're uncomfortable, like you're asking them for their resume, how comfortable of a conversation, how hard is that?
It shouldn't be hard because honestly, this is the future of your child. It should be relatively easy because you're going to be doing this hopefully 4, 5, 6, 7 times, right? And with the new official visit rules, you have an unlimited amount of official visits. But parents, young athletes, you need to be taking notes and trying to get to know who these guys are because your official visits are going to only last 1 to 2 days. They're going to probably come out to your house 1 or 2 times. So you're not going to get a lot of FaceTime with them. You might be able to call them and text them and figure those things out. But to have your in-person face experience, you're not going to get that much time before you decide to go to whatever school you choose. And then you're going to be with this coach 6 days out of the week, every week.
So you, as a parent, I'm listening to you. I would approach this as a parent as I'm the buyer.
Yes.
I'm the one you have to sell me. Obviously, I'm buying it. But I'm the buyer, meaning I need to come with my series of questions that you would for any large purchase. But this is the biggest purchase that you'll ever make, whether it's university or coach. So if you come without any questions or without asking for the resume and you go back and let's just say you have 6 visits, let's say you have 7 visits or 7 offers, how do you weigh those? Like, is there a process to say, I personally liked this coach or this scheme or the way his personality was? Do you have what are the top things you're weighing when you look at several similar coaches?
Yes, when you're looking at these coaches, the first and most probably important thing is you want to look at the success of the players in his room. For example, let's go with defensive backs, the position I played. When I was looking at my colleges, my coaches, even when transferring, I wanted to see what was the state of being of the players that were currently in that position. What is the state of being with how successful they have been under this coach? Does he have a good turnover of producing guys that go on to the next level? Because what he's teaching them, the skills that he's teaching them, and the techniques that he's teaching them, there's a lot of factors that go into your position coach. Am I going to develop under this coach? That's the number one question you should be asking yourself. Am I going to be a better player here versus any other university that I choose? Which coach at my position of all the universities that I have visited or talked to is going to make me the best player I can be? That's what you're looking after when you're looking after a position coach.
So you're throwing out comfortability. You're throwing out personality. You're looking at how did the players who are under that coach perform, and then how does he challenge his staff or his players to perform and to be better players? So how are you going to be formed as a player for the future? That's your number one outmost. That's what you should be looking at.
That's the number one thing. I understand some guys like player coaches, as they call them. Those are coaches that typically get along with the players on a friendly type of basis. But then I've had coaches that were not player coaches who were probably my best coaches. And they taught me the most about football, increased my football IQ, increased my ability to think in very quick, sudden situations and be the best player I could be. Now, you want to have a good relationship with your coach. Every player does. But if I was to say the number one thing that you needed to know is the real pedigree that's coming out of that room year in and year out. Is that coach going to make you the best player you can possibly be? And we're talking about your position coach. When we move on to your coordinator, that's when we kind of talk about scheme. How do I fit into this man's plan? How do I fit into the scheme of the offense or defense that he's running? Am I that type of player? As a player, this is where you need to probably talk to your high school coach and get a real understanding of the type of player you are. Parents, you need to talk to your child's high school coach to understand what type of player is my son. If we're on defense, am I a 4-3 type of guy? Am I a 3-4 type of guy? Am I a cover 2 corner? Am I a man corner? These type of simple questions can get you a long way and help you understand what type of player is my son. And that will be very critical when you talk to those coordinators.
And going back to the big question that I was asking about personality, and this is something that I've learned in the professional world. When somebody has a lot of time for you to hang out with you and spend with you, that's really great. That's really wonderful. But I think you made a point about some coaches that don't have that good bedside manner, if you will. And they're straight X's and O's. That you need to be doing this better, that better. The reason why I would side on that side of the talent, if you will, or side on that side of the dial. If that coach isn't spending time with good bedside manner, then he's probably checking out film. He's probably preparing a good game plan. He's probably going to bring to you, like, for instance, as a defensive back, this is what this wide receiver does. This is how he does his cuts because I've been watching film. This is what I'm seeing. So that's what I've experienced with people who don't have the good bedside charm. In your experience as a player, a coach that doesn't have that, is that what you're typically getting? He's a lot more of a researcher, grinder, and giving you the stats and facts. And let's get to let's get down to the nitty gritty on this thing.
Yeah, of my three defensive back coaches in college, because I did go to 3 schools, I had one that was like that, and he increased my IQ an immense amount. However, my more player coaches were the ones that increased my individual skill. So you take a hit on either one or the other, but overall, I think you need to err on the side of which coach do I think is going to make me the best player I can possibly be, right?
And to your point about that is no coach is going to be the doc, the wizard of it all. You're not going to meet this coach. They may tell you that they are going to be the wizard. They know it all. But at the end of the day, it has a lot to do with you. And then it has a lot to do with how your effort is. But you cannot, when you are a buyer, don't think that this coach is going to lead you to the promised land because he's got all the tools in his. They're going to tell you they have all the tools, I would imagine, when they talk to you. They're going to say, I have all the tools to get you to the next level. That's probably a line they'll use. But to your point, not every coach brings the whole package to you. So you're going to get some good, you're going to get some bad, you're going to get some items here and there. So that's just to be aware of that. So don't go in there thinking this is my key. That person is my key.
Correct.
It still has a lot to do with you.
It definitely still has a lot to do with you. You're going to have to still make the plays on the field at the end of the day as well. So when we have our position coach, we know what we're looking for. Our coordinator, we know what we're looking for. In some cases, our position coach could be our coordinator as well. In that case, parents, I really need you to be focused and ask all the necessary questions. And players, I need you to be focused and ask all the necessary questions to see how you fit into that situation. I see a lot of guys, they go after their biggest offer, right? They go to the school that has the most noise right now. But I honestly believe if you can get in where you really fit in, if you go to a school that's really going to, illustrate your talent, that's probably the best place for you to be. It might not be the best school that you have on your offer list. It might be the worst school probably on your offer list, but it's going to be the school that gives you the opportunity to flourish. Because that's what we're after here. We're trying to get to the contract. And the only way for us to do that is to flourish on the field in college. That's the name of the game. That's it. So it doesn't always mean going to Alabama. Sometimes it means going to Purdue like Rondale Moore and being a draft pick, right? He was a perfect example for, I have a lot of big schools, but I'm going to go to the school that will fit my talent, will help me flourish throughout my college career. and will help me succeed, and then I can get to my dream.
Yep. And the other part to me, when you look at that, I feel like a lot of times, especially for your position, you're kind of the pause button for life. You're like, let's pause, let's think about these pros and cons. When you're going through that recruiting process, how the hell do you find time to hit a pause button? How the heck do you just like, I'm going to take a pause and really review this information so I can make a clear, good decision? Because a lot of times in everyone's life, you're so busy, there's a million things going on, you're worried about making the wrong decision, so the one on paper that looks the best, you may just default to that. But how did you pause the button? How did you pause it for yourself? How do you help these young kids kind of pause and really look at it from those angles?
Well, as a former player, the way I went about it, my mom just told me to open my notes in my iPhone, and she gave me a whole bunch of categories that I needed to ask about and know about before I went back home for my official visits. So on my 5 official visits, right, I had a category, the same categories for every school, and I made sure I ranked them out of 10. What did I think was this? What did I think was that? What did I think was this? What did I think was that? And I'd have to have an explanation on why I thought it was that grading. That's what I did. Today's day and age, it's a little different, a lot different. There's a lot more variables.
More categories. More categories.
Exactly. So when I consult parents right now and I talk to them, I tell them, hey, you got to look at these coaches. You got to understand that this coach has a history of leaving after 3 years. Your son's probably going to be there in 4. So you're going to need to understand that another coach is going to come in. There's also this transfer portal situation. So just because you think that all those players on that roster right now in the spring are the players you're going to be playing with in the fall, that's not what that means. That's not what that means. So there's a lot of different things that players are going to have to start trying to understand and conceptualize, as well as the parents, while you're with your son on this journey. But as soon as they get to college, they're going to have to start making their decision on their own. And then that's when we start getting into transferring and other options. And then it becomes an entire circus, to be honest.
And kudos to your mom for putting all those categories together and keeping it organized. I think that's one of the keys from an interviewer. They usually try to keep all the questions the same for everybody, so it's fair shake. I think having that template is also extremely important. So you're not asking one college question A, one college question B, and a third college question C, and then you try to compare them and you ask 3 different questions, and it's like, how do you compare something that you didn't ask or forgot to ask or never asked between the 2 universities?
No, of course. So I did have them covered because my mom made sure I did. She went with me on a couple of those official visits as well, and I made a lot of decisions by myself, of course, but I was able to at least have it down on paper. I was at least able to, see what I, re-see on paper what I thought when I had my official, 2 days on that campus or what have you. But moving on from basically coaches, right? We got our position coach, who's going to be the person that we are going to be with the most throughout our college career. We have the coordinator, who could possibly be our position coach, who could also possibly be the head coach. They're going to really kind of determine what kind of player am I? Am I going to fit in this scheme and their plan and what that college and university has going for them? Then our head coach, really mostly about their history. Are they an NFL guy? Do they have connections? Have they been able to turn programs around? Do they produce a lot of good players? But the second most important thing that we're about to get into is roster. Current roster. We're talking about the players that are currently on the team. We're talking about the players that just left the team. We're talking about the incoming freshman class that I'm part of as the student athlete considering going to this school. And then we're going to talk about possible transfer ins and what those coaches and staff are looking for. All 4 of those questions, if you're on an official visit for that university, you can get the answer to. You can ask the coach, hey coach, what transfers do you plan on bringing in? And what positions do you plan on bringing in? You can go onto the school website and you can see, how old is everyone in my position? Are these seniors? Are these juniors? Are these freshmen or sophomores? How old is the majority of the players in my room? Because that will also indicate Are you likely to play early? Are you likely to sit a couple of years?
And if you're looking at this, and it just feels like a lot, because you're talking about the coaches, which is great, we did the interviews, but now you're talking about the rosters. When you're looking at the rosters and you're looking at the seniors who are leaving, the thing that kind of screwed up a lot of things for me as a fan was once COVID happened, they had all this extension that existed.
Yeah.
So is that still a confusing part of this, or is that settled down since COVID? Because we're still in the COVID tunnel, if you will. And then how do you address that as a kid who's incoming? Because that certainly affected a lot of these incoming freshmen during that time frame, because a lot of kids were able to stay longer.
Yeah. So really, it did affect two groups the most. It affected the senior class in college in the year 2020 and the senior class of high school in the year 2020. Those are the two classes that hit the hardest. The junior class in 2020 in high school felt it a little bit, right? We're kind of getting our relief from the situation. The real problem with COVID was that these colleges still had their finite number of scholarships, and they had the ability to bring back senior players for an extra year, but their scholarship number never increased for those players. So they weren't allowed to take any more new coming freshmen that would basically get them back up to that max level of scholarships. So they had to pick and choose what type of players they wanted to keep and what type of players they were going to give those offers to and allow to sign national letters of intent. So that's really where the flooding happened.
And this is my problem with, again, I'm very pro athlete here. So the university got to do we're going to keep these seniors who are going to help us try to win a championship, and then we're going to bring in the top echelon freshmen. And then you had a lot of kids that got kind of put to the wayside, if you will, because of COVID. So the kids, in essence, got hurt more than the university. Is that a fair statement?
Yes, it is a fair statement. And then also with the transfer portal, I think there's a misconception that because of the transfer portal, there's less scholarships. There's the same amount of scholarships throughout the country, no matter what happens. It's just like musical chairs. If someone sits up, there's a chair that's vacant. So when someone sits down, it's not vacant anymore. So there's the same amount of scholarships. What people are feeling is that when players leave a school and they enter the transfer portal, right? The school that now has that vacant scholarship hasn't offered all those available players, right? So when you have high school coaches I honestly see complain about the transfer portal because they're frustrated that they can't get some of their high school guys out to colleges, it's because they're seeing that some of these schools that I usually can get my players to don't have available scholarships because they're using those available scholarships on transfers. What they should be doing is looking at where those transfers are coming from, because that's where the available scholarships are. Because there's available scholarships out there. It's just that there's a finite number. You need to know what university they're coming from.
So you have to take your narrow view. You have a narrow view. You have to widen that. You just have to open that up. You have to look further. You have to look at more things. And again, it makes it harder for the high school coach. I understand that. But again, I'm not here for feelings. I'm not here for, I'm so sorry, high school coach. I'm sorry, college. I want to see these athletes on the field in college. That's what you want to see. That's what I want to see. Exactly. So when I look at that from my perspective, it's like, if your coach is not widening his view, that's why Mason's here. That's exactly what he's able to do. He's able to look at the whole picture and say, hey, hit the pause button. It's not the end of the world. There's still options. To your point about musical chairs, just because that coach doesn't see it. And again, it's not the high school coach's fault. This landscape is changing so fast.
Yeah,
and no one can expect these high school coaches to flip with it. Mason does. Mason flips with it. You know why? Because if Mason doesn't, he doesn't have it. He's gone. It's over for him. Yeah. So a high school coach doesn't need to care about all the flipping that's happening in college. But Mason sure as heck has to.
Yeah. And that's basically what is going on in this world with just NIL as well, with the transfer portal. And you guys, parents and student athletes, this is what I'm saying when you have to pay attention to the rosters, because you do have to also pay attention to the portal. This goes hand in hand. You need to understand how that roster is looking when you get to campus. And this is also why it's so important that you graduate high school in 7 semesters. Because you will be able to be on campus first and take that spot sooner than any other transfer portal can. Because the transfer portal can start their last game of whatever season they're in, and they're going to want to bring those kids in. But think about it. Would a coach rather have a player for 4 years or maybe a year? If he's hurting really bad, he'll take a player for a year to just help him for that next year. But he needs sustainability. He wants to mold a player into the type of guy that he wants on his team. That's the point of a program. A program is not just 1 year. A program is a 4-year decision. A program is supposed to get you ready for the years to come in that program. You're going to grow with the program. The coach is going to, year by year, add more things to their playbook and to their arsenal because they're getting more comfortable with the players that they have on their team because those are their guys that they're recruiting. That's the point of the program. So when you look at these roster parents and players, you need to look at all the factors, not just who's there right now, who's leaving, who's coming with me. Look at 247 Sports. They'll have all the players that school that you're looking at has offered. Who's committed there? You could see all this information. And then you could ask these coaches when you're on those official visits, are you going into the transfer portal? For what positions? What's the situation? How many players at my position are you bringing in next year? And some of them might say, hey, we're going to bring 2 from the portal at your position, and we're going to bring 2 freshmen. They're going to give you that type of answer. And that's one of the most important things.
And as a kid going into this or looking at this, again, to your point, all the information's there. It's readily available. You can bring it to the questions that you ask. But going back to that kid, this is why the perfect number 7 is the most important number you need to be thinking about. 7, 7, 7. It's great because what you just said, the earlier you fill the chair that's empty, the earlier that you take that roster spot, the earlier that you take that scholarship, guess what? You're helping yourself and you're helping that coach, to your point, because the coach doesn't want to invest or spend a lot of time or lose out on something. And again, to your other point about the transfer portal, yeah, you may have a guy for a year or something like that. But when you get in there on the 7th semester, you get into that university, and you get part of that program, you are literally allowing that coach to cross an item off their list. You got to remember that too, as an athlete. You're filling in an area of need for them. And the sooner you're available to do that, the bigger a deal it is for your future, for your scholarship, for your university that you're looking at, in my opinion. And that's why you keep emphasizing 7. So if you're in high school and you haven't even heard it, go back and check out our other episodes regarding what you're looking at in high school. But 7 is the key number, and you keep emphasizing that for that very reason.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to check out our part 2 of this episode. Like and subscribe so you don't miss out.